Super cold, super excited. Today, I'm gonna cook 8 pork butts on this full-size smoke slinger, and I'm gonna have fire in both baskets. Let's go. One split of cherry wood in each drawer, right on the inside. Now we're just gonna let that kind of get up, and while we're waiting on that, I'm gonna show you what I did. On the inside, I've got both my upper racks in, and then I got my tuning plates all in with even spaces between them. The goal is to have even temperature all the way across. Start with coal, about 2 hours, start adding another split every hour and a half to 2 hours. Today, I'm gonna have the air setting fully open as I start, and then we're gonna try to run this thing around 200 to 225 for the first couple hours. Okay guys, now we can start walking this cooker back down. We've let it run and get warmed up. We're running about 260 on the left and about 300 almost on the right. And all I got to do that is start closing some dampers down. When I say start walking it down, I'm going to basically close each of these dampers a little less than half. So they're just slightly more open than half. I don't like to go all the way down cold turkey to half on these. And actually, if you wanted to thread the needle and dissect the atom, you could actually make it to where both of these air inlets are opposite of each other, right? Have no idea. It just looks cool that way. And then here we go. We're going to do a similar thing on this side. These I'm going to close down to about right there. Then go to the other side, do the same thing. So I just want this thing to start walking down. I'm not going to get in a dramatic hurry to drop temperature really fast. We're cooking all day. I'm setting in on this cook. I've allowed like 12 hours. It's going to be dark here when I'm done, so I'm going to have to mess with the lighting so I can get you the full picture. Now from here going forward, we're going to maintain our temperature by controlling how much fuel we add to these charcoal baskets. Like I said, I started with a bed of coals and I'm putting one split on each drawer. There might be a spot where I put even a smaller split on each drawer. I want to keep it even by the amount of fuel I'm adding in each drawer, but I don't want to over fuel it. If I over fuel it, that's when this thing will go crazy on you. So while we're waiting on the cooker to drop in temperature, I just got to thinking, maybe I should tell you my timeline. That might be helpful. I usually forget to do that. Basically what my plan is so far, like I mentioned earlier in the video, I just want to kind of walk these butts up in temperature. I don't want to like just scald the outside and then try to wait for that temperature to come up. It's just, they're just going to get black and look bad. So when you're cooking direct heat like this, you've got to start low and slow and let everything warm up together. And then once you get to a certain point, then you can actually bring the temperature up and finish them. So we're going to start off, my target is to say around 225. I think that fat cap down is my first position on here, and staying around that 225 for a while and just letting them kind of coast up. I think we're going to have a really good cook doing it that way. And then about 2 hours in, I'm going to check and see what the bottom of these pork butts look like. I'm going to look at color. And if I want to, I can flip them over at that point. 2 hours isn't going to be like done on our pork. We're probably just going to be getting up around, you know, just over 100 to 120 degrees internal temp. Like we got a long way to go at that point still. So we'll check temperature at that point as well if I remember. By the way, I do these videos on the fly. I don't like sit and like plan and document and figure this all out. This is a live action cook, and I'm documenting it for you guys because you're gonna have to be figuring this out too, so I might as well do it too, right? Anyway, judging by my experience cooking like this, we're just gonna coast it up, right? So 200 to 225 at the beginning, couple of hours, check things out, look at our color, see what our bark formation, if we're not gonna be like forming bark, but we're gonna start to get some dark color on the bottom, then I might flip them all over. And we may flip them a couple of times. We're in a direct heat scenario. Let this thing run, try to judge at that time whether or not I want to bring my temperature up a little bit. I may go ahead and creep it up around 240, 250 or something like that and let it cook for a while. And then as I keep going, I'll just keep tweaking the temperature by either adding a little more fuel or increasing my air settings. I might be closing these dampers off even just a little bit more here momentarily because I'm watching that needle in the camera and it's up around 325. But here's the key. Don't hurry and adjust things. Give yourself plenty of time. If you're scared to do all 8 butts at one time and you want to just practice running the pit, start with 4 pork butts and, you know, give yourself 30 minutes between each change, bare minimum, and then just be comfortable with a 12-hour cook, and you'll learn so much during that period. Guys, check this out. This is the pork butts in question. They look glorious. I don't want to mess my bark up right now, but I cross-hatched the fat cap. I love doing that. So anyway, very light coat of my buddy's rub over here. 43rd parallel barbecue. There you go. Be back in a minute. All right, guys, let's do a check-in here real quick. I started off about 225, and it's been about 2.5 hours or so, and my temperature, I've let it steadily climb up to about 250. My driveway sloped just a little bit, and just so you know, it does have a little bit of an effect, like everything's lazy and wants to go that way a little bit. So what I've been doing is running this side open just a little bit more on my air inlet, that side a little more closed, cutting those dampers down just a little bit, opening these up. So that's a little tip. If you have a sloped driveway, and this works on offsets and everything, is the pitch of your cooker and how easy air moves. So but anyway, that's kind of what I'm doing right here. I've been just adding just a handful, like 1 handful, maybe a handful and a half of lump charcoal to the front edge of my basket periodically. And then I do have this handy dandy tool right here. This is this little garden tool thing. And I've been kind of raking some of those coals forward. When running a smaller coal bed, your basket will always tend to burn faster at the front than in the back. The back side will just be like, just steady cooking. I'm wanting to keep a very even cook chamber temp this time. So I'm just kind of raking those coals around a little bit. I'm also adding splits of wood that are about 1.5 to 2 inches and in diameter is what I call that. And then about, 10 to 12 inches long. I'm not adding it right now, but I'm adding that about every hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes, it seems. I add 1 to each basket. And when I put it in there, I put it off to one side. Let's take a quick look at the coal bed real quick where we're at. So this is kind of what we're looking like. My wood from earlier is right here. And then this is what our coal bed looks like about this far in. So when I add a handful of coals, I'm adding it like right here, right on this front edge. And then my air inlet, like I say, I'm keeping it shut down pretty good. And we've been running right around 250 the whole time. On this side over here, the coal bed's a little more spread out. We're gonna probably add a split here in about another 30 minutes or so and a little handful of coal. Once again, right on the inside front is where I'm adding charcoal when I add it. Let's look up inside. See, we got 250-ish right there too. Let's look. So these have been fat capped down the entire cook so far. This is kind of the color we're getting. Man, they look good. I'm getting ready to start checking color on the bottom here. Looks like we got some bark formation there a little bit. They're just really starting to drip and render. Anyway, I'm going to keep them running fat cap down for a little bit longer. I'm going to flip them over here probably about another 30 or 45 minutes. And also, I'm going to look at the evenness of the color when I do that, because if I wanted to, I could shift, like if those on that side are darker than the ones on this side or vice versa, I can do some flip around in there. It's not that big of a deal. All right, guys, let's look at these pork butts. There we go. I'm digging that. They're feeling good right now. Let's flip one of these things over. I brought just a little bit of rub here, 43rd parallel. That's what I put on them to begin with, just to touch up, because I cross-hatched the fat caps on here. I'm not really sure what we got for looks, but my goodness. Man, I hope the color's adjusted right on this camera. From where I'm sitting, this is like super, super red. Not sure if I can adjust that on the camera, but man, that looks good. Here's another one, look at that. Boy, I tell you, I am digging that. And they feel great right now. There we go. Very, very happy with how these are turning out. They all look pretty even too. I think fire management in this situation is absolutely key. They are looking great. So all I'm gonna do now is take off this glove And I like to touch up whenever I crosshatch the bark like this. Here, we got to eat that piece. Oh yeah. I like to just kind of give it a little bit of a shake. Not much. We're going to render a little fat, get some more color going. Just hit the spots in between a little bit here. We get some crust build up down inside those fat pockets. Now, they feel like they're sitting somewhere around 140 internal. I got to go get a thermometer. I forgot to grab it. Anyway, we're starting to render real good. Everything looks great. I'm going to let this start to warm up from the bottom side. Once we get somewhere in the 160s is probably when we're going to wrap. I'm going to start running the temperature up now, though, on the cooker, about 275 to 300. All right, guys, we're sitting somewhere in the 167. I'm pretty shocked right now because every one of these butts are within about 5 degrees of each other on the internal temp. So now I haven't only flipped them that one time. I didn't flip them again. They didn't need it. So now I'm going to pull them off of here. We got really good bark. I'm going to go ahead and wrap these. I'm just going to do a single layer of foil on the bottom and a single layer on top. No mystery. You guys have all done this before. One thing I am going to do is put it fat cap down. And I can't just let this run away. Oh yeah, we're there. Yeah, the flavor's great on that. So anyway, I'm gonna get these wrapped, then we'll talk a little bit more about it. There you go. We got her all wrapped up. I put them back in the same place. The only difference is we're fat capped down at this point. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and let this thing come back up to temp, and then we're going to check our fire. Okay, guys. Anyway, we just finished wrapping. We just put the butts back on, kind of letting the cooker come back up to temp. But this is a great opportunity for us to check our fire and look and see where we're at with our coal bed, etc. So, by the way, quick shout out to my buddy Al from Freedom Glove Magna Chef. Without him, I couldn't grab that handle right now and pull that drawer out. So there you go. Our coal bed, some of it kind of falls off the side. It's not a big deal. I usually just grab it with this glove. That's what's good about these gloves is I can grab that and pull it all up on top, kind of get my coal bed consolidated here. It has had some fat rendering and stuff in it. And then what I do when I add my splits, first of all, my splits are preheated. I set them on both sides of this, of my coal bed there. And I'm gonna let these kind of catch a little bit. And then I'm gonna move over here to this other one. On this side, I added some charcoal earlier, just a handful. So I've got a little bit more coals over here, but I'm just adding 2 more splits on this side. I'm primarily, for the last 2 hours, I've been running 2 small splits like we talked about earlier in each drawer. So you can kind of see what we're doing right there. And then I'm gonna let these kind of get started, then we're gonna slide these drawers in. Hey guys, real quick, for the guys that never knew this before, these cotton 99-cent liners are an old competition barbecue secret. When you put these on and then put your nitrile gloves on, you basically have an instant pot holder. There you go. That's a moment of intense value for you guys that did not know that. Now I can pick up a 350-degree pan and walk with it and not feel it. So anyway, shredding pork, this is also a great deal. The one downside to this is if you, for some reason, hit a sharp bone, poke a hole in your glove, instant 3rd-degree burn. The liquid is just like incredibly conductive and it burns you, so be careful. Anyway, as long as you don't poke a hole in it, you're good. Anyway, here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and probe these. See, we're sitting right at, whoa, 203. Right now, 204. I don't know if you can see that real well on that thermometer right there. So, doing good there. That one feels like butter. 203. That's impressive. Let's see where we're at over here. 208 on that one. This one here's 196. See where we're at on the leakers. 207, 208. Yeah, that's really good. There we go. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. Let's pull one of these out. Actually, I'm gonna cheat and take the one that's in the pan because it's got a pan. It's like opening up a Christmas present. Eight pork butts on the full-size Smokeslinger. There we go. Look, we got great pullback on that bone. Guys, this thing feels great. But here we go. Smokeslinger pulled pork now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take all those pork butts out of the cooker. I'm gonna put them in the pans like this, leave them in the foil, but I'm gonna open the top of the foil up. And then I'm gonna let these steam off for about, I don't know, 20 minutes, something like that. And I don't pull the pork. I did this time just to show you, but I usually don't pull this pork. I wanna let all that heat energy come out of this thing for two reasons. Number one, it's gonna be easier to handle when I'm pulling the pork. Number two, we want to get all that heat energy out of it so it doesn't overshoot in temperature. Now, you can tell, like when we took judging classes for competition barbecue, we would take a piece of pork like this, and when we did it, we would push it against the roof of our mouth. And what you'll notice, if pork is overcooked, you'll have like a powdery texture. Not mushy and juicy, but powdery kind of feeling. That's how you'll know that the pork is actually overdone. So we want to prevent that. That's not a pleasant texture. And anyway, then you can do whatever you want to do with your pork. Make a nice finishing sauce which is like some vinegar, some red peppers, like crushed red pepper, stuff like that. Or you can just sauce and toss, put some rub in it, whatever you want to do. Let's take a bite of this here and just see kind of how we think. Get a really good bite here. Here's a bite. Right there, that looks awesome. Here we go. It's just really good pulled pork. You could do anything you wanted with that. There you go. This will become probably chili verde, huh? Mm-hmm. That's what we'll do with it. That's good, guys. Super clean, not dirty smoke. That's what I'm going for. So if you want more information about a Smokeslinger direct heat smoker, there's a couple of ways to get it. Of course, subscribe and like this channel and stuff like that. You can watch the videos I publish. The second way to get more information is go to Facebook and join our Facebook group. There's a link in the description for that group. What you'll see in that group is a bunch of fanatics that already own these things. Some of them own 2 or 3 and cook on them everywhere they go. The other way to get more information is on smokeslinger.com. You can view the products and read along on there a little bit, but there's a quote form on there. If you fill out that quote form, you're going to get a deal on shipping, which is cheaper than the website price. And then also you'll get on the phone with me or Dave, and one of us can help you find the right size for you and get that thing shipped right to your door. Typical lead time is less than 4 weeks, and we've got your cooker ready to ship. Anyway, let's go hit 2025 with a Smokeslinger in your backyard, and let's cook some great barbecue. We'll see you later.